Good morning, everyone. We are nothing if we are not professional here. We know what we're doing every second. We never make mistakes. And you have to be exactly like us to be part of this program, as a matter of fact. Now, of course, I'm spoon feeding you a heavy dose of sarcasm this morning as we work through the traditional challenges of volunteer-based programming. I want to thank you all for taking your time this Wednesday morning to spend with us here at 1MCups Anchorage. Those of you online, those of you here in the room at the Umoja co-working space, this is the front page, the front door of your entrepreneurial community. So thank you for participating and being here to share your time, your knowledge, your skills, and what it is that you're up to in the community. That's what this program is all about. So right now, all across the country, entrepreneurs are gathering in coffee shops and co-working spaces and chamber conference rooms and things just like we are here today, centered around the concept of how this community can support the entrepreneurial activity going on. And so today we've got a presentation that, believe it or not, just might save your life. This is an important one. And I'm really excited to invite Susan Cobb from Cobb Medical to be joining us today to talk to us about what they're up to. Now, while this presentation is going on, I want to invite you all, pull out your phones, check in to 1MCups. We've got 1MCups.com/Anchorage is our website. You can also join us on Facebook, facebook.com/1MCupsANC. Join the community, tell your friends what you're doing, check in, post something on your favorite social media, and let's help grow this community. And now, please help me in welcoming Susan Cobb.
Hey, Susan.
Thank you.
Okay, Susan, you're on if you want to do your share screen and then hit the present button.
All right, I think we might have that.
So far, so good. We're starting to see your screen. Now go ahead and hit the present button.
Okay. How's that?
It's perfect.
Oh, sweet. Something's working out here.
Yeah, you're in the little window on the right, so we can see your face in the little window, and 90% of the screen has your full deck up, so you're good to go.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you. And thank you for the opportunity to present to the 1MCup community. I truly am thankful, and this will be my first time presenting this project. Okay. Imagine that you are out eating lunch with your friends. One of them turns to you and says, "Sarah, I think they need you over there." Sarah, seasoned flight nurse, responds without even looking up, "No, they probably just need to give them some juice," and she continues eating. She hears a frantic voice of her fiance urging, "Sarah, they're calling 911. I think they need you now." Curious, she glances over and sees a group of people gathered around an older lady, white as a sheet, slumped in her chair. She jumps up and runs over and sees that she's not breathing. Without hesitation, she pulls her to the ground and starts compressions. She shouts, "Someone get me an AED." A few relieved bystanders take off to get an AED. Soon a guy steps up and says, "Hey, I'm a firefighter. Can I help?" The AED arrives, no shock is advised, and they continue sharing compressions for the next 9 minutes until the medics arrive and take over. The American Heart Association says that high-quality compressions done immediately and correctly in a cardiac arrest can double or even triple a person's chance of survival, especially if it's within the first few minutes. This true story could have had a much different outcome. That restaurant was filled with people. A crowd stood around, but only 2 stepped up. The waitress later told Sarah, "I didn't know what to do." Each year in the US, more than 350,000 cardiac arrests occur outside of the hospital, with only 11% surviving. Statistics show 70% of Americans feel helpless to act during a cardiac emergency because, 1, they do not know how to administer CPR, or 2, their training had significantly lapsed. Our program is the answer to bystander hesitancy. Hello, I'm Susan Cobb, Executive Director of Compression Ready Communities, an Alaskan-based nonprofit organization with the big dream of changing the culture of bystander into a compression giver. Compression Ready Communities is a movement that involves the implementation of an effective system of education to all members of a community so that everyone and anyone can be prepared to act in the event of a cardiac arrest. We strongly believe that effective education is the key to making a lasting impact and bringing about a large social change. Oh, so I should have had that one on the. Okay, hands-only CPR was first introduced for the general public in 2008. This was the new safe and effective technique to improve participation. Simply push hard and fast in the middle of the chest. This should have been a game changer. But despite the simplification of the misconception remains that specialized training was still necessary to help. 10 years later, in 2018, the Cleveland Clinic released a survey revealing that while more than half of Americans said they knew CPR, only 1 in 6 knew that hands-only CPR was a recommended method. And out of 1,000 people surveyed, only 1 in 10 understood the correct beat and pace needed for life-saving compressions. The study concluded that people hesitate to do compressions because they don't feel prepared. CPR, those 3 letters can loom ominous and seem insurmountable, riddled with anxiety and producing mind-paralyzing fear. We have purposely distanced from the acronym that no longer accurately depicts the motion. Our focus is on high-quality compressions with only 3 points. 1, how to recognize an unresponsive, non-breathing person. 2, call 911 and get an AED if available. And 3, start high-quality compressions until help arrives or you can no longer do them. We offer a 20-minute training class that includes a short introduction, a 6-minute video with a training pamphlet, followed by compression training on feedback mannequins. Studies show that people lose their muscle memory within 6 to 8 weeks of practice. So we have set a goal to remediate on feedback mannequins every 6 to 8 weeks for 2 minutes. The science reflects that short, frequent sessions builds familiarity that promotes a confident understanding, thereby improving the likelihood that a bystander will respond in a cardiac event. Did I lose you guys with the, there it is, sorry.
No, we're good.
Okay. Okay, and imagine a world where compression readiness is a standard, where compassion is exhibited through bystanders administering life-extending high-quality compressions as the rule and not the exception. This is the vision of our compression-ready communities. Where are we today? Glad you asked. We have made a board of directors, an executive director, executive assistant, vice president, 2 regional education directors, 1 in Montana, 1 in California, and then we also have 1 here in Alaska and 2 educators. We started beta testing our education program and look forward to completing it sometime this spring. We're currently working on finding our different revenue streams. The packages and plans will be broken down into different tiers and pricings. Our plan is to launch our program in early summer or sooner. You can scan this QR code to access our website. This concludes my presentation. Are there any questions?
Excellent. Thank you very much. Let's open it up for questions here in the room or online. If you have questions, go ahead and put them in the chat, and we'll be happy to pass those along. And thank you for your presentation there.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Hey, I see some clapping hands from Sarah. So, gosh, we've got
Emily says, wow, great presentation.
I've got just so you know, there's 12 people online today, so we've got a whole bunch of folks that showed up. Thank you all for
Yeah.
jumping online there. So go here too, Susan. You know, I appreciate the presentation today. As I put in the post this morning or yesterday, I realized that this presentation was probably equal value in terms of us seeing a startup and the startup community, but also I just found what you're working on to be super important, because I had no idea that this whole compression type of approach was going on. And I'm one of those folks that I've had CPR training a number of years ago, but if somebody were actually in trouble, I'd be really struggling on what do I do? Do I do something? And so I think you're absolutely spot on with a super important need. And I really appreciate you giving us that message today and above anything. But maybe you could share a little bit more about, is this intended to be a social impact nonprofit kind of thing that you're trying to scale? Or is this a money maker? Are you trying to turn this into a business? Kind of what's your view of this as a startup, and where are you going with this in terms of the business side of where this goes?
Well, this is a nonprofit. We actually had I had Cobb Medical. We split this off of Cobb Medical as our education department as a nonprofit. We want to be able to offer this to everyone everywhere, pretty much make it an affordable teaching tool to go into the different communities. As far as the business plan, thankfully for Alpha Upstart, I was able to see that I don't have to make a huge business plan, that I could use the lean canvas. So there's a huge plug for them, because I super appreciate what they've helped me accomplish, not only like with moving forward in the generating ideas and just with the tools that I've been given. But I just see this as a vision of where it can go globally, where people can absolutely just grasp onto this. We offer it on our website. We offer the video is free. The pamphlets are free. You can download those. You can watch those. What we offer is a team of people to come alongside and bring in the program. The software would be paired with the person in the HR department or the community, and we would be able to keep track where they would go in every 6 to 8 weeks and do 2 minutes on a feedback device. This program can be used with any kind of feedback device that could be paired with our software.
Cool. Thanks.
All right.
Hi, Susan. This is Brian in Anchorage. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about some of the tools or supports that you'll be using. I remember hearing something about a test, like a test device, when you and I had a chance to talk, and it sounded like you had gone through quite the process to make casts or manufacture that device. And so I was wondering if you could speak about that process a little bit.
Sure. Thank you for that opportunity. Cobb Medical actually was 6 years ago. I first had this idea, and it was for a different feedback device for compressions, a different mannequin. And so we had been developing our actual mannequin, and along the way, I felt like it needed some kind of a support to deliver it. Our feedback device, I'll be probably presenting that here. Hopefully the prototype will be done within the next couple of months. We're probably 30% right now with that. But I needed a vehicle to bring it on. So I consider like compression ready communities like our river that would float our mannequin eventually on. We went ahead and developed the compression ready communities education program that could be used with any type of feedback device. Of course, ours we're going to feel is superior because it's an amazing concept where it's all visual and gives immediate feedback to that. hopefully, prayerfully, we'll be able to get that out soon. And so that would be eventually, you know, in tandem, this would be an amazing project. But we feel like right now that compression ready communities is something that needs to be out there for people. Hope I answered your question.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that with me. It sounds like there's more to come on the practice equipment. So I'll look forward to hearing more. 'Cause
Absolutely,
I remember
yes.
quite the story the last time we got a chance to talk about how that came into existence. So I thought that was pretty exciting.
Yeah, that'll, hopefully I'll be able to do another presentation on that one soon.
All right.
So, Susan, I was curious if you might dive a little bit more into, you mentioned that you're doing Upstart Alpha, and I'm kind of curious about, you know, what attracted you to Upstart Alpha. And you mentioned, you know, the Canvas as an alternative business plan, but kind of what got you into Upstart Alpha? What have you gotten out of it? What have you learned from that approach to helping with this? Because you've been working at this for a while, and then you jumped into that. I'm just kind of curious what your experience has been and what you might tell others about how it fit into what you've been doing.
Sure. Well, we've been working on this project for about 6 years now, just kind of going with it. I am a registered nurse. My specialty is emergency medicine. And this is not my jam, being a business person. I honestly, my friends will tell me, oh, you're an entrepreneur. But, you know, I just honestly just recently embraced this probably a couple months ago that, yeah, I probably am an entrepreneur. And I had attended this Upstart group in Anchorage and learned about just different aspects of how to build a business, because when you come up with an idea, it's a great idea, but if it never goes anywhere, it's a great idea, but it dies right there with you. So just to get this going was a huge project, and to try and figure out where to even start. When I went to Upstart and I saw they did a presentation for the program that they had there, and I was just amazed at how all these strangers came together and made a business. And then I was introduced to, I think, Kai and Catherine and Jacqueline, and I just started meeting people there that night, and they invited me to different presentations and meetings, and I was able to attend a couple of them because I was still working in Anchorage. I had a contract at Providence, and so in between my work, I would go to these meetings, and I actually was attended my first 1MCups there. But the Upstart Alpha program, I joined because I needed so much, and I didn't even know what I didn't know. There was so much I know that I didn't know. So that program was able to kind of open it up for me. And our first, I remember our first assignment was the Lean Canvas, and I was just overjoyed that I wouldn't have to make a business plan, because I had made a business plan years ago for Cobb Medical, and it was probably one of the most toughest parts I've ever done. It was horrible, just to say the truth. But I am not built that way. I don't think that way. I'm not a business person, and I can have a lot of great ideas, but the Upstart Alpha kind of gave me the skeleton that I can build on, is what I would say. And, you know, just like putting together a board of directors and trying to figure out, you know, like, what are even the names of the people? What kind of titles do you give people? Those things are the things that we had to Google and try to figure out. And so I'm thankful my executive assistant, Emily, was like a godsend and is part of the huge part of this project. Thanks to her, we have an incredible slide presentation.
So,
any other questions, or did I answer that one okay?
No, that was great. Thanks. I'm curious. You've mentioned quite a bit of investment that in terms of effort has been made, and it sounds like some people. How's this thing being funded at this point? And you know, what are you looking for in terms of funding down the road to be able to grow this business?
You know, we've pretty much just done this out of our pocket. as far as compression ready communities, it does, just out of pocket kind of thing, and building, we've got pamphlets and stuff like that and started ordering those. And what we're hoping to do is get some grant funding for that and be able to grow this community here. And so grant funding more than, I don't think investors, I don't believe that this is something that I don't even know. We just keep doing it, and I work and I pay for it, or we pay for it, or whatever.
Morning, Susan. Thank you so much for this presentation. After seeing you so many times at 1MCups and joining so frequently, I'm glad to see you actually present this time.
Thank you.
Great presentation. And to that point about what kind of funding you're looking for, have you considered handing off this business, this idea, to someone that is more for-profit minded, that could take this and make it a thriving business versus keeping it as a nonprofit for yourself? Have you explored, what different paths have you explored? Because this work is so important.
Honestly, we haven't really explored that much as far as the financial part, handing it off, making a profit. Of course, what I would like to do is have this a viable business where people who are a part of it are able to make a good living out of it, and that it's affordable for the people that need it, and I'm not really sure. We made it nonprofit. We separated it out from the Cobb Medical because we felt that the education part was very important, like you were saying, for people to be able to access that, and soon, and our website that Emily built is phenomenal, and it's still like liquid. I call it liquid because we're always improving. And right there, if you go to our website, you can see our video that we hired Martin Media to produce this video, and the video shows 3 different scenarios of how to respond, or what it might look like in a situation. And then the pamphlets help you go through the step-by-step, 3 little simple steps. And as far as like, I wouldn't even know how to make like a nonprofit back into a profit. We do have a great board of directors, so they probably could do that. But I would, with Cobb Medical, that part is going to be our profit because it's going to be a manufacturing thing. So, I mean, just with my understanding about stuff, that's where we're at. I don't even know what's really available. So thankful to Alpha Upstart and you, meeting you and stuff like that, where I'm learning. You're welcome.
So, Susan, what kind of challenges do you having at this point with the business?
The challenges right now, we're like daily, I meet with our executive assistant, Emily. We work on the pamphlets, business cards, building that platform. The educators that have come alongside these 2 young people that were part of our video just stepped in and helped. Today, I found an educator that was super excited to be a part of this. And it's just finding the people, putting in the niches. And now that I like learning how to pitch what I'm trying to do, and then going forward and being invited in or getting an invitation into different businesses and avenues that I can present this to them, and just honing in on the particulars about finding the right software that's going to pair with the mannequin so that we can keep that going. It's like you said, Kai, earlier, you've taken CPR before, BLS, but you're not familiar with it. But with our concept, what we're seeing is that you present the idea, show them 3 easy steps, you do your compressions, and then 6 to 8 weeks, you come back 2 minutes to just get on that mannequin, do compressions. It breeds familiarity, it breeds confidence, and it keeps that fresh in your mind. And, you know, who knows for how long you would do it. As a nurse, I would appreciate that every 6 to 8 weeks, just for my muscle memory. I don't do a lot of compressions because as a nurse, you usually are charting. So, you know, when you are doing compressions, it's not the time to practice. So that's what we're, you know, thinking about, is just getting it out there and helping people not be afraid to jump in and compress.
Yeah,
And
well,
changing that mindset that you have to know a lot to help, you know, and yeah, changing it from hands-only CPR to compressions where there's no CPR component in there.
Yeah, well, I'm really drawn to the question of, does this, and maybe this is, you know, off in a wrong direction, but it seems like we've got hundreds of millions of people that need to learn this. Yeah.
Yeah.
The scale of this in terms of, you know, I mean, easily tens of millions of people need access to this. Out of a country of 300 million, it'd be nice that, you know, 1 in 10 knew that. Well, all of a sudden that's 300 million people that ought to know this skill. And I'm just wondering, is there a different way of getting this out there in terms of the online materials? Is there a way to create, you know, something that, you know, people could go down to the local drugstore and buy a little, you know, $5 widget to push on that would have the right resistance on it? Or maybe you figure out how to take a 1 liter Coke bottle and say, go buy a 1 liter Coke bottle and push on it, you know, and use, you know, videos, or we use artificial intelligence to take a video of you doing it. And maybe the AI looks at the video of you and gives you feedback and says, oh, you got to straighten your elbows a little bit more, put your hands over. I'm just wondering if there's a different way of scaling this without having to bring on, you know, what could be thousands of mannequins and thousands of people and organizations to somehow take what you've presented as such a simple but vital approach to life-saving and make it as simple to how it gets scaled. Have you pondered that, or have any thoughts on that? How do we get this out to 10 million people instead of a couple thousand?
Right. Well, I do listen to different organizations, and there's the CPR Foundation, Citizens Foundation, that one time I was on there, and they were saying in Great Britain, there's a program that they have now that's pretty much continent or, you know, countrywide, and it's called Revive. And it's where you can have you push on a pillow and you have your phone watch you push, and it's like the AI intelligent part. And, you know, pairing up with something like that would be a great idea, you know, and that's, yeah, it needs to go. Everybody needs this for sure. And, you know, just to put it out here, oh, is somebody asking something?
Yeah, I had a random question, I guess, kind of about the medical or legality side of it. Like, do you have any risks? Like, did you go through any risks or concerns concerning this being in the medical field? People saying, oh, well, I learned this or I learned that, and any kind of, you know, people claiming that you can't do this?
You know, it's a personal choice to me. I'm not going to worry about the people that can't do something. If they want to do this, they're welcome to try it. And as far as like, people go, oh, you know, what about the risk of breaking ribs? Yeah, well, the person's going to be dead. They're dead already unless you jump in. So you're not going to hurt them. You're not going to make them any more dead. And the fact of the matter is that, like, the Good Samaritan law is you're not going to be in trouble for that. So, you know, people, it doesn't matter what kind of tools you get. If they don't use them, you know, that's a personal choice for them, I think. But as far as like putting it out there and being like in some kind of trouble saying that this isn't the right method to do. I'm a BLS instructor, ACLS instructor. I've instructed the PALS, and, you know, I've had this passion for quite a while. So just studying it, it's very simple what the rules are. You need an AED if there's one. And we always thought, you know, the first and the hardest part is to recognize somebody even needs it. And so teaching them what an unresponsive person looks like, that they're not breathing, they need something. They need your help because they're pretty much dead. There's no oxygen going to the brain. And calling 911, getting help on the way, you need that more than anything. And an AED, if they've got a disorganized cardiac rhythm, it's going to be able to shock it into that. That's going to be your best bet. But not every place has an AED, and 80%, 88% of the cardiac arrests happen at home. So we feel if we can reach like the schools, the boroughs, the community centers, everything outside the home, it is like a Venn diagram going into the home. We'll reach the home that way. And so not everybody has an AED, but they can do compressions. And it's easy, 100 to 120, 2 inches deep. And once you feel it on a mannequin, and once you've practiced that, then you understand what you're doing. Those compressions, you're compressing that heart between the backbone and the sternum, and you're pushing that blood out. You are the pump. You know, it's like a closed system. You've got your fluid, your pipes, and your pump. Well, the most important thing is to get that oxygen to the brain, because even if they restart the heart and they're brain dead, you have a donor. You know, so if you don't do anything, they're dead. And if you do something and they don't make it, at least you tried. Does that make sense? Probably a lot more than you wanted to hear, huh?
No, you're good.
All right. Any last questions out there for us? A question?
Yeah, question. Susan, I just wanted to say thank you for that last explanation. Because
welcome.
when you answered that question, I really heard the passion that you have, and behind that, the years of experience that you have. And you got a smile on your face. There was a real energy to what you were saying, and it got me excited. And I learned something new. You know, the idea of doing a compression, I need to be 2 inches deep, and I'm thinking about now pushing someone's rib cage in 2 inches to make this pump work.
Yep.
And that's a little bit surprising to me. That's maybe a little bit deeper than what I would expect. So even just this presentation that you're giving today, I'm still learning more, and I'm still more educated now than when I walked into this room. And so thank you for the work that you're doing.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it is. I mean, that's probably my joy and fun. Some people get fun out of skiing. I really enjoy this part.
Ask for the final question.
Yeah, that's what we love about this program, is the opportunity to, you know, learn about the things that are going on in our community in ways that we all can become better stewards of our community and better citizens of our community. And you helped us do that very well here today.
Thank
Well,
you.
we always like to finish these presentations off with the question, what can we as an entrepreneurial community do to support you as an entrepreneur?
You know, this community has already really supported me a lot. Just continue doing what you're doing. And, you know, along the way, I don't even know what I don't know yet. And so as I grow as a entrepreneur or person or business, I know you guys are there. And that's what I really appreciate. It's that you're a phone call away. And if you have suggestions, just throw them my way. If you know, come across something that would help me get this out, I'm your girl.
Very good. And Susan, where can the folks on the call go to find you if they have more questions for you?
Our website with that QR code, you can go to compressionreadycommunities.org or type in cobbmedical.com, and it will take you to our website. And there's a contact up there also that will come into my email. I'm not sure if my phone number's on there, but I can certainly give that out too.
Excellent. I think that's perfect. I appreciate that.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Yeah, send me your ideas. Huh?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, well, and I was going to tell you too, the logo for Cobb Medical is the little red hen. If y'all know that story, whoever helps gets to eat the bread. That's just the way I feel. So come on board.
Very nice. Well, next up, we'd like to ask if there are any community announcements. Melanie. Tell us all about it.
I would love to. We are in full swing of the Alaska Angel Conference prep period and leading up to the February 10th deadline for applications for both entrepreneurs and investors for this year's Alaska Angel Conference. We have a couple of different informational sessions that are being hosted by myself and other AAC organizers, such as Huckleberry, who's on the call here today, and Martina Worden from the Juneau Economic Development Council. Tonight at 5 p.m., we have an informational session for investors who might be interested, or potential investors who are curious about what angel investing is and what that looks like from an investor perspective. Also open to entrepreneurs who are curious about that, but much more geared towards an investor's perspective on angel investing. Tomorrow at noon, we'll be hosting the entrepreneur version of that event and talking about different deal types and what does raising equity investment look like for a startup. All these are virtual. Next Tuesday of next week at 12:30 p.m., we'll be hosting a trends in the impact investing space and what are ESG criteria. We'll be posting that one hopefully today with information there. It'll be hosted and presented by Jenny Morowitz, who is a strategy and operations partner at Kirkland & Ellis law firm. So some high-level trends about impact investing and ESG with some insights for companies that might be interested in incorporating some of those principles in their businesses. And Susan, that might be a great one for you as well to be joining, since it very much Cobb Medical very much fits into the world of environmental, social, and governance criteria for companies and investors. And all these events are free. And the following week on, February 8th at noon, we'll be hosting a $10 lunch event alongside the Alaska Investor Network to as an informal setting for funders and founders to meet and mingle. It'll be hosted in person for those in Anchorage at the Eureka space that is in Midtown-ish area for those that haven't been there yet. So a slew of different events for entrepreneurs that are thinking about fundraising. Of course, for us as Angel Conference organizers, we hope that that will increase the number of applications for both investors and entrepreneurs. But frankly, these events are generally for the ecosystem to be built out and to grow the number of startups and investors in the space in Alaska. So those are the events that I have. And all these will be posted either on Eventbrite, on Facebook, on our website for the Angel Conference, all those different pieces. So there are many different ways of getting to those events, and Huckleberry is posting the links in the chat as well for this meeting. Thank you.
Excellent, outstanding, and a lot of really cool events coming up with that. Any of you that are early stage, been around in the game a few times, it's a great opportunity to learn about that process. Let me just go ahead and sell it after you already sold it. And thank you for that. Any other community announcements?
Three quickies. One, Startup Digest went out today. I encourage you to take a look at that if you've received it or subscribe with a lot of the links to all this stuff. Second is next week's 1MCups has two presentations kicking off the Black History Month. I think we have the Business Caucus and I forget the two groups. I don't know if you remember, Ryan. any rate, we'll be kicking off that also. That's also a good warm up to the following weekend, which is the Black Business Expo. So I encourage you to be here next week for 1MCups to learn more about the community there, as well as the digest for that. And then finally, the Innovation Summit is going on in mid-March. We're planning on having a startup ecosystem meeting at 11:30, kicking it off on Wednesday. We'll also Zoom that, but encouraging folks that are going down there for that. The pitch applications and the shorts applications are currently open. I encourage folks to be signing up to share what you're working on in the community through the shorts. Those are just little 10-minute presentations, as well as if you know of a company that would be interested in pitching, get them to apply. The deadlines for both of those applications are here in about 10 days or so. I think the 10th is the application deadline for the pitch, and maybe the 20th is the deadline for the short. So look forward to seeing you in Juneau.
Excellent. And we preparations for startup week.
Yeah, just briefly regarding Startup Week, we had a meeting yesterday, and a group is beginning to lay the foundation for Startup Week, as well as just coming together to talk about ecosystem work. There'll be another meeting going on February 13th. We're looking at some legislative priorities that we might want to bring to the legislature to support Startup Week and that ecosystem. We're planning on a strategic planning kind of meeting on February 24th to bring folks together to do some planning, and that meeting on March 15th to do some more planning. But at this point, we are planning on Startup Week in conjunction with the Global Entrepreneurship Week, the week of November 13th this year. And there'll be probably an anchored startup weekend there, which reminds me also, if you're interested, there's a startup weekend that's being planned in February, the weekend of the 17th, 18th, 19th in February in Fairbanks. If you know of any Fairbanks related startups or anyone who wants to make the trip up to Fairbanks to participate in that startup weekend, they're gearing up and going at this point. It will be a great event. That last Anchorage startup weekend, we had folks coming down from Fairbanks to participate here, and in the past we've had folks come from Juneau to participate in startup weekends. We even had folks come up as far away as California to participate in our startup weekend. So the Fairbanks one, if you missed the Anchorage one and you're interested in startup weekend, is going on. I encourage you to be looking for ways to sign up for that and to participate. They're also looking for sponsors and help with marketing.
Excellent. Thank you, Kai. Lastly, one final pitch. Remember, this community is your community, and we need your help to grow. So do us all a favor, reach out to that one entrepreneur that you know that needs to be part of this organization, needs to be part of this group. Doesn't cost anything. This is all run by volunteers. We all do this out of the goodness of our hearts. So help us out. No, I'm just kidding. So, you know, post about what you're doing. Post about this event. This is important enough to you to put this on your calendar and be here every week. Tell your friends about it. Reach out and help us grow this community so we can have a greater impact for businesses in the last frontier. Thank you all so much for joining us. We look forward to seeing you again next week at 1MCups right here at the Umoja Co-working Space. Big thanks to the Umoja Co-working Space for hosting us, and also to AK Version 3, our sponsoring organization here. And thank you. And to the AK Company for their generous coffee sponsorship. You don't even have to pay for coffee here at 1MCups. So come on down and we'll see you next week. Keep the conversation going on social media, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.